Wentz Financial Group presents Zips Basketball Weekly with John Groce. Investment management for your lifetime. Brought to you by Akron Children's Hospital and Bryant Heating and Cooling. And now your host, Joe Dunn.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to a brand new edition of Zips Basketball Weekly, brought to you all season long by the Wentz Financial Group. Well, 3 games in 5 days, 3 wins. Let's bring in the coach. And when we talked to you last week, Coach, we were talking about that almost an NBA schedule. Now, as you look back, you played pretty well and you got 3 wins. You got to be happy.
Oh, I was really proud of the courage our guys showed. I mean, it was a brutal stretch, and all 3 games were different.
They were.
You look at the Western Michigan game on Tuesday night, and it was a game where we're down 10 with 2:40 to go and have to make this comeback. Then you look at the Bowling Green game, and we couldn't have played any better, defensively and offensively. In fact, I thought if we'd have made a few more of our layups around the rim, we could have scored 100-plus points.
You're right.
And everything went our way, and we had to play with a big lead late. Then you go to the 3rd game, and now all of a sudden we're up 8, and the game's nip and tuck and back and forth, and we've got to try to close with a lead of 8 at the under 8.
Yeah.
And so that was all 3 games completely different. And of course, the 3rd one was in the 40s.
Yeah.
Versus 2 days earlier, we could have scored 100.
You're right.
You know, so all the games were different. I thought it was great from that standpoint. It gave us experience playing in all different types of scenarios.
You look at how crazy college basketball is, Coach. Those 3 games, you had 2 at home and the Bowling Green game on the road. You would think those 2 home games, you got a good chance to win those maybe. On the road, going to be a little tougher. It was just the opposite, though. You had to really play hard at home to win.
That's called league play.
That's
and
right.
I've been saying it, for a long time now. I mean, I think in league play, to try to predict or be a forecaster, that's a tough job because you just don't know. You have to play that game that night. Every game's different. Styles are different. It's a lot like I saw a great tweet by my friend Fran Fraschilla, who does a great job and is a great guy. And he said, these conference games are like playing your neighbors when you were growing up in the backyard. Yeah. You know everybody's moves. You know what they're going to do. They know what you're going to do. And it comes down to toughness a lot of times to be able to execute. And obviously, overall, Joe, I thought throughout the 3 games in 5 days, we did a lot of good things.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Zips with those 3 wins are now 12-5 overall, 5-2 in the Mid-American Conference. They'll go back out on the road this week. We'll talk about those games a little bit later. But right now, let's go back to Rhodes Arena. This past Tuesday night, Western Michigan, the Broncos are in town. Coach, you're coming off a tough loss at Kent. What was kind of the mood of your team going into that Broncos game?
Well, we've been pretty consistent with that all year, and I think it's, you saw that this week as we talked about the different type of games that we played. I think our guys have just kind of put their head down and plowed through it, and they care about winning. They care about each other. We've got a really good group to work with. We got to execute a little bit better in some areas. But they're fun to work with. I thought their mindset, their heart set, I thought they were really all consistently throughout this past week very good. And so I thought our mindset was good going into the game. That we didn't play particularly well, and I thought we got pumped physically on the interior to start the game. And then the shot-making ability of Norman and B. Artis White was terrific. But our guys fought, and obviously you'll see just a terrific comeback here through the highlights, down 10 with 2:40 to go.
You warned us last week, Coach, that this Western team was really the first time they had all their guys together. They were starting to play well, and you were right.
Yeah, those 2 guards are dynamic, gifted scorers in a one-game setting. They can really get it going. And obviously Norman and B. Artis White combined for 9 made threes, I believe it was, maybe 11, Joe. But it was a lot. And so they put 40-plus points on the board between the 2 of them. And they were very difficult to defend. A lot of the shots they were making were tough shots. So give those 2 guys credit.
We had a 3-point lead, I think, with 7:56 to go in the first half. We're up 28-25, and then they make a little run, back and forth we go, and we're down 3 at the half, 44-41.
Yeah, a little bit different than some of the other games. I mean, a lot of people have questioned our starts. We actually had two great starts, against Western and against Kent back-to-back, where we're up 4 against Kent 12 minutes into the game, and certainly led for the first 14 minutes against Western Michigan this past Tuesday night. So we did that back-to-back, but obviously those two guards really got going at the end of the first half, closed that gap, and ended up creating a lead for the Broncos.
Yeah, about midway through the second half, Coach, I think you started trapping, and they had some problems then as their defense really picked up the pace.
Yeah, we had to do something because those two guards were in such a rhythm. So we started trapping a little bit more in the full court, trapping with some of our coverages in the half court, which you see here on this particular clip with 13 and change, that's creating some turnovers, some disruption of rhythm. And I thought it was big for us, Joe. It allowed us to get back in the game.
Yeah, we're down 8, 62-54. Then we're down 9, 65-56. You get down to about 4 minutes. I think 4 minutes and 6 seconds. I wrote it down, Coach. You called a timeout, and that's when things really turned.
Yeah, tried to get the boost with the media there, calling a 30 that turned into a media timeout to get the guys a little bit of rest and get them recentered emotionally and mentally for that stretch run. And, fortunately for us, we made a lot of plays. We created some turnovers, got some key stops, made some key threes, overcame a possession where they got a couple offensive rebounds in a row and kind of just stayed with it and ended up getting a stop before Ali's game winner.
Yeah, there's a 3 by Greg Tribble, another 3 by Ali, and all of a sudden with 1:04 left to go in the game, at 73-72, the Zips are down by 1, and then we're talking about the last shot by Ali that gives us the lead, and then they've got the ball with about 5 seconds left to go to the length of the court.
Yeah, and then 2 times this past week, and we'll talk about obviously the second and third game of the week here shortly, but Enrique Freeman here in this game comes up with a big vertical at the rim to prevent B. Artis White from scoring what would have been the go-ahead basket. So big play by Enrique Freeman.
Exactly. You got a lot of steals down there with about a minute or 2 left. Your defense really, with full court defense, you were knocking it away, stealing it. That's one thing. Then you got to convert once you get the basketball.
No, you do, which obviously Ali does here on this ISO from about 12 to 15 feet. He plays through the contact and scores it. Big basket there for our team, and great play by Ali.
There's the final possession, Coach. I
the
think
vertical, that we were alluding to.
Yeah,
just a great play by Enrique Freeman protecting the rim.
Exactly. I have watched a lot of basketball games at Rhodes Arena. I'm trying to remember a better comeback by an Akron basketball team than the one you had against Western Michigan. I can't think of one.
No, it was an unbelievable comeback. You certainly, when you're down 10 with 2:40 to go, obviously the odds would say you're up against it, but our guys kept fighting, and it was a good enough comeback that it made SportsCenter that night. So credit to our guys for continuing to show poise and composure and finding a way to win the basketball game.
Yeah, huge win. If you were there, you know what we're talking about. We're going to take a break because 2 days later, the Zips got to go to Bowling Green for a tough game against the Falcons. We're going to watch those highlights right after this.
The difference with Wentz Financial Group is that we do not have a cookie-cutter answer to any of our clients' needs. Every day is completely different in the market, and every client situation is unique. We value the opportunity and responsibility to manage the hopes and dreams of our 3,000 customers nationwide.
Come see the difference Wentz Financial Group can make for your financial future. Wentz Financial Group. Investment management for your lifetime.
This is my back before surgery, and then this was it after. These things are in my back right now, helping keep it straight so I get to go back to dance with my friends.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you, Chloe. From my perspective, there is nothing that I wouldn't let you do. Really, all the credit for how well you're doing is just you and how hard you've worked to get back to where you are. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to Zips Basketball Weekly. After a nice win over Western Michigan, it's on the bus, heading west to Bowling Green for a big game with the Falcons. And Coach, the record didn't look good, but you and I both know they are a talented team. They have some outstanding players.
Really talented, really deep, really athletic.
Yeah.
Plowden is as good a player on the interior, 4-5, 5-4, and even has some 3-man type tendencies as there is in our league. I called him going into the game an Olympic level athlete. And he's really good. And they got a lot of guys to return that are super seniors due to the COVID year. So they're really old, really deep. It was a heck of a win for us. I mean, it was was the best we've played at both ends simultaneously since Wright State.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, we really played well. I mean, from offensive execution, you know, Joe, we had 6 turnovers in the game. I mean, we were terrific, taking care of the ball, moving the ball, screening, defending. I just thought we were really good. I thought our teamism was great throughout the game, phenomenal energy, minimized mistakes defensively. I thought it was just a great overall performance by our team.
Yeah, we saw that the Zips are down early, 6-0, and you didn't wait long, Coach. You called that timeout. We're down 6-0. Just, I guess, get their attention a little bit, or what?
Yeah, just to kind of just tell them we're going to be fine. And I maybe didn't even need to call it because their disposition was so good when I huddled them there. And even at the under 4, we were down, I think it was 13-9. You know, we were still really locked in and took what I thought was their best shot those first 4 minutes and did a really good job of just playing through it.
After we're down 6-0, Coach, you outscore the Falcons by 18 points the rest of that first half. We lead it 46-34 at halftime. And the one thing we got to talk about is the Ron Trimble show. I mean, he put on a shooting display that I'm sure you've seen that in practice, Coach. I haven't seen that type of shooting in a long time.
Yeah, obviously one of the best shooting performances in Akron men's basketball history. You know, it was right up there. Of course, had I known that he was 1 away from the record, you know, we kind of went to movement and put the game on ice the last 10 minutes. I might have ran a couple plays for him. I didn't know till after the game. But yeah, he was terrific. And 6 for 10 in the first half, Joe, and then he comes out and goes 4 for 4 in the second half. I mean, he was one of the best shooting performances, certainly, that I've been a part of live. So, you know, he was terrific, and we needed every one of them. Yeah.
The old record, of course, was held by Mark Alberts, who's now the head basketball coach down at Northwestern High School down in Wayne County, and I'm sure Mark was aware of what was going on. And, Coach, the second half, you go down and score early. And any thoughts that Bowling Green had of getting back in this? That early 2 minutes was big for you.
Yeah, I think when you've played really well in the first half and you have somewhere around a double-digit lead, that first 4 minutes of the second half is huge.
Yes, it was.
You're either going to create, they're going to have more hope after that first 4 minutes, or it's going to be like, boy, we're in for a long night. And so we talked about the importance of our start to the second half, and I thought our guys did a good job of embracing that and you know, really delivering in that regard.
You made or called another timeout late in the game, Coach. Momentum had shifted just a tad, and after going through that Western Michigan game, I'm sure you're aware of teams coming back.
Yeah, just trying to obviously manage, you know, the game, and especially with as many games as we played here. Sometimes right now, late in games, I'll use one, and I've done it all week, to try to get them an extra blow, especially to close, you know, in the last 4 or 5 minutes, and try to strategically use it around the media where 30 turns into a full. Or maybe use a full at 4:35, knowing that in another minute or under 4, we're going to get another full timeout. So just trying to help our guys out a little bit here during that stretch, during this particular stretch of 3 games in 5 days.
Yeah, the lead goes up to 26 points with 7:43 left at 76-50. You win the basketball game, Coach, 91-66. As you mentioned, the best effort the Zips have had since going down to Dayton and beating Wright State. But, you know, after the game, we talked to Brian Trimble, and one thing I've noticed, and he mentioned it, your team doesn't show a lot of emotion. They are pretty constant the way they play. It's not like they're pointing at people and putting up fingers. They're a pretty cool group.
Yeah, they do, for sure. I mean, that's one of the things that we've shown all year is how courageous we've been, resilient, and a part of that is that disposition. I would agree with Brian. We just kind of keep going. Guys can say things to each other in huddles that are constructively critical, and no one flips out. You know, everyone knows we're all trying to get the same thing, get to the same place. And so I think that's really a good sign of being a team. And I would agree with Brian on that.
2 games down, 1 more to go. That, of course, was Saturday night. A big win again. We're going to come back and watch highlights of that one right after this timeout.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes H-Jacks Plumbing and Heating. Find them at hjacks.com.
What we make right here at the University of Akron
holds up under pressure.
What we make climbs the ladder and leads to record highs.
What we make lifts us all.
And makes us all better.
With everything we make, everyone rises.
Well, this past Saturday night, one of the biggest crowds of the season is at Rhodes Arena to watch the Red Hot Zips take on Eastern Michigan. And, Coach, again, it was a nail-biter right down to the final play.
It sure was, and a totally different game than the highlights we just looked at from Bowling Green, Joe. I mean, it was a grinder. I call it like going to the dentist.
It was.
You know, figuratively speaking, obviously, after the game. I mean, just like, wow. I mean, it was a war. Hard to score for both teams. I thought both teams defended really well, having watched the film, and made it hard. Having said that, I did not think we didn't help ourselves any. We weren't real sharp on offense. I didn't think our pace of play in transition, we call it our race game, racing and beating the other team down the floor. I didn't think that or our pace in the half court was very good. Our screening wasn't great. We were just in slow motion a bit. But give, Eastern credit. They mucked it up, and it was a physical game, too, the way it was officiated. And that also, I think, played into the low scoring.
Exactly.
So just a different type of game. And if you're a good team, you have to find different ways to win.
Brian Trimble had the hot hand against Bowling Green. Xavier Castaneda, he had the hot hand early. He was hitting some big threes for you, Coach, to keep you in that game early.
Xavier had a great week. X did, man. He was really good, very consistent.
Yep.
Averaged 14-plus points per game, 5-plus assists per game, 3-plus rebounds per game. I mean, he had a great week, and he was consistent throughout all three games and played a ton of minutes for us. And then, obviously, what you don't see on a stat sheet is what he gives us in terms of toughness and in terms of his defensive play. He's a really good defender.
Exactly. They switched defenses, Coach, and they hadn't done that much, and they were strictly a man-to-man, and now they come out and throw a zone at you.
They did, yeah. They had played 8 possessions of zone all year, and then they probably played that, if not more, collectively throughout the course of the game. And then we changed defenses, too. We were full-court pressure, and so I think that added to certainly the style that the game was played, and it was a fist fight. It was a physical, old-fashioned backyard brawl war. And fortunately for us, we came out on top, made enough plays there, and got a key stop late with Enrique getting that last vertical at the rim, much like he did against Western Michigan.
Yeah, we were down 2, 3, 4 points most of that first half and into the second half. And before Ali makes the shot, and we're up 32-31. I think that's our first lead in the second half.
It was a big play. And then obviously we ended up getting up 8, making some shots, making some plays, in particular with Ali and Castaneda.
Big win for the Zips, 3 in a row. We'll come back and talk about our players of the week right after this.
Even if this is the three-point line, and this is the hoop, if this is home ice, and this is sticking the landing, kids will find a way to keep playing the sports they love, and we'll keep helping them. After an injury, Akron Children's is dedicated to getting your child back to the game as quickly and safely as possible, however they play it. Learn more at akronchildrens.org/sports.
The difference with Wentz Financial Group is that we do not have a cookie-cutter answer to any of our clients' needs. Every day is completely different in the market, and every client situation is unique. We value the opportunity and responsibility to manage the hopes and dreams of our 3,000 customers nationwide.
Come see the difference Wentz Financial Group can make for your financial future. Wentz Financial Group. Investment management for your lifetime.
Well, right now it's time to name our player of the week, and what a week he had. How about Xavier Castaneda, junior guard from Chicago? An excellent week, both offensively and defensively. He was a big part of that comeback against Western Michigan. Had big steals, had 14 points and 6 assists in a road win over Bowling Green, and then came back with a good shooting night against Eastern Michigan, hitting 2 early threes, and then a short jumper after that. For the entire week, he scored 42 points, Coach, and dished out 15 assists.
He was terrific.
Amazing.
At both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
We were talking about him off air, how consistent he is in his approach. You know what you're getting from X every day. He's the same guy. Great student. Really embodies a lot from a toughness perspective, his effort, his attitude, who he is as a teammate, of what we want to be about culturally. And been a great addition for us. And the good news for us is that he's playing at a high level right now, and we get him for another year.
Yeah.
So he's a big part of what we're doing.
Yeah, I talked to him after a game a couple of weeks ago and asked him if he felt more comfortable playing the point or the two, and he says he can play either one. He's got a good combo guard.
He just plays to win.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. He's competitive, he's tough, and you talked about it, Joe, off air as well, his disposition of where it just doesn't change, and when you've got a guard like that has that disposition, it certainly rubs off on everyone else around him.
Yeah, 15 assists. He's got to keep his teammates happy. If somebody's open, they're going to get the ball.
Yeah, and his assist to turnover, not just this week, but here in the last 2 to 3 weeks, has really been trending. And I think a big part of his game that's really evolved is his decision-making in transition. We've been able to get some easier baskets over the course of the last couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. We're really evolving and getting better there in our transition game, and he's a big part of that.
Congratulations to that young man, our player on the rise. How about Aziz Bandango, the 7-foot freshman out of Senegal, continues to show improvement a little bit each game, Coach. We saw a move he made, I think, earlier in the week that all the players on the bench jumped up. They were happy for him, and we haven't seen the best of him yet.
No, we sure haven't. I mean, if you watched our practices, there's a lot of days where Dango's as good as anybody we have out there, and trying to make that transfer from practice to the games. He's gotten better with that. I think he's played really well here lately, earning certainly this recognition as player on the rise. But his best days are clearly ahead of him, as he continues to get more muscle mass and get used to playing college basketball, right? He came over late last year due to the COVID situation, and this is his first opportunity really playing against 22, 23-year-old plus in some cases. Men. And so it's been great for him, and he's going to continue to get better, big part of our future as well.
He just echoed what Enrique Freeman told us after the radio broadcast last night. He says, we have not seen the best of Aziz Bandango. In fact, what he says, you may see one time he just tears that rim right off the backboard.
Yeah,
he's that good.
He's gotten better, and I think he's got big-time upside and ceiling. Part of it's because of his work capacity, and he's really a quick study. He's very, very smart. Sometimes, we underestimate learning that English language, which he's learning and getting better at daily. But he's doing a nice job for us, and is a big part of what we do.
Yep. Well, the Zips become road warriors this week. A Tuesday night game up at Central Michigan, a Friday night nationally televised game up at Toledo on Friday night. And Coach, here we go, back on the road.
Yeah, no question. Great opportunity for us to continue to grow and get better. 2 great challenges this week. We got to make sure that we're ready to go. 2 different styles and types of games. You've got Central, who's going to change defenses and is a prolific 3-point shooting team, plays with great tempo. You've got Toledo, that's a high-level execution team offensively. And interestingly enough, we think all these threes, and they certainly can shoot the 3, but they're more potent from 2-point range this year than they have been in the past. And then their defensive numbers are as good as they've ever been, and they change up different coverages within their man-to-man, which makes them difficult to prepare for as well. So 2 great challenges.
Yeah, the Rockets right now are 15-4, 7-1, had a big win over Ohio Friday night down in Athens. They still have those same tough players, Shoemate, Rollins, and a transfer from Boise State.
Yeah, R.J. Dennis, who's provided them with some steadiness, much like X has for us.
Yep. Congratulations, Coach, on getting through that stretch with 3 big wins. We'll go back on the road next week. We'll talk about that at next week's show. For head coach John Groce, I'm Joe Dunn. Thanks for watching. Back here next week with more. And always remember, go Zips.
Wentz Financial Group presents Zips Basketball Weekly with John Groce. Investment management for your lifetime. Brought to you by Akron Children's Hospital and Bryant Heating and Cooling. Thanks for watching, and go Zips!
This has been a presentation from Learfield,